This is Lisa from Mobile Tech Review, and this is the Lenovo IdeaPad K1. This is Lenovo's first Android Honeycomb 10.1-inch tablet, and this one, you can tell from the IdeaPad name, is for consumers. They'll also have a ThinkPad tablet that's going to go after business users and basically folks who aren't looking for a more consumer-oriented product. It's a nice enough looking tablet. It has a rather large bezel. That's kind of surprising. And it's got a rounded look. It almost reminds us of the HP touchpad, especially because they've added the little belly button, home button here. Now, I don't know why they put that in, maybe to make it more like the iPad and also even the touchpad, because Android Honeycomb is a buttonless product. Basically, you don't need the home button anymore because you'll have a persistent menu bar down here that always has back, home, and your application switcher interface. But it's there, works. 2-megapixel front camera here. Take a look at the back view. It is plastic. It's available in 3 colors with a metal frame. And it's pretty nice looking. And this is a kind of soft feeling, grippy piece of plastic. I like it. There's a little bit of flex, but that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. And it's available in 3 colors, as I mentioned, black, white, and red. Got your metal frame down here. Stereo speakers firing out the back. Not particularly loud. And on the bottom here we have the 30-pin USB dock connector, 3.5mm headphone jack, and a micro HDMI port. So you can hook this up to your TV or a monitor. On the side here we have volume controls, power button, microphone hole, rotation lock, and this is your micro SD card slot. Really annoying here, you have to stick a bent paper clip in the hole to pop open the little cover. Why they did that, I don't know. But otherwise, the buttons look nicely machined. It looks fairly high quality. Up top, nothing to see here. And nothing on this side either. So it's not a bad looking tablet at all. And it weighs 1.65 pounds, which is a little on the heavy side for tablets. You know, the Samsung Galaxy Tab 10.1 being the lightest on the market, and the iPad weighing 1.3 pounds, of course, the Asus eTransformer being about 1.5 pounds, a little bit over. But it feels nice in the hand. The curves feel good. It's not overly thick. In terms of specs, this is your standard Android Honeycomb tablet. That means dual-core 1 GHz NVIDIA Tegra 2 CPU with graphics acceleration. It has a gig of RAM. It's available in a variety of storage capacities. We have the 32 gig model, which is probably what you're going to see in most stores, and sells for $4.99, which is also pretty much the going rate for Tier 1 tablet brands like Galaxy Tab and now the Zoom after its little price decrease. It has single band Wi-Fi 802.11bgn as 2.4 gigahertz band only. The ThinkPad version will have dual band N. It has Bluetooth 2.1 plus EDR at a GPS, and that's a 5-megapixel camera on the back with an LED flash. So your standard Android Honeycomb specs are on board here. Display, again, standard 1280 by 800 pixels. Not an IPS display, unfortunately. This very pretty desktop that they have here, kind of dramatic looking and very sharp and contrasty, makes the most of the display. Looks good. But in terms of brightness and quality, it's average. It's fine. It's not going to impress you compared to, say, the Samsung Galaxy Tab 10.1 or the iPad Transformer by Asus. And we'll compare those now. And now we have the IdeaPad K1 in my hand below, and the Asus iPad Transformer up top with its IPS display, and you can see, wow, the IPS display is brighter and pops more. In terms of size, they're about the same. In terms of thickness, Lenovo is a little bit thicker overall. And here we have it with the Samsung Galaxy Tab 10.1. Again, really amazing display, super duper color saturation on the Samsung, and brighter. And obviously the Samsung is about the same in terms of measurements. It's not quite as tall, and it's going to be a lot thinner. But you do lose some ports and functionality for that thinness, but overall, if you like thin and light, clearly Galaxy Tab is a winner, and that bright display, wow. So in terms of hardware, it's a perfectly competent Android Honeycomb tablet running Honeycomb 3.1 OS. I'm sure at some point it'll see future upgrades. My Asus iPad Transformer just got 3.2, and so did the Zoom. Hopefully it'll be coming for Lenovo at some point as well. But the software is what sets the Lenovo apart in good and bad ways. Lenovo brags about the fact that they've added over 30 applications here. Now, some Android tablets, even the Galaxy Tab, Samsung usually likes to give you some software. It's pretty bare bones when you get it, but you can go to the Android market and download stuff to your heart's content. Lenovo has pre-installed a whole lot of stuff, and unfortunately, some of it makes for a very confusing experience. For example, we have the standard Android gallery here. Now, if you're an Android user, you'll recognize that icon. You'll know the interface when you launch it. But if you're a novice, this is going to really confuse you. You're not going to know which is which. Because here, look, we have another icon that says Gallery. Well, also, of course, there's a video player built into the Android gallery, but we have another one over here called Video Player, and that's Lenovo's. And that's okay. Sometimes we see custom video players, and they are good value added. Sometimes they're good performance and stuff. But you'll see when we try to open a video, it's going to ask you if you want to open the video with Video Player or Video Player. Wow. And these value-added applications are mostly made by ArcSoft, who offers a suite of tablet applications to manufacturers who want to put them on there. And while we're talking about the sometimes less than value-added software, we have this e-reader app also made by ArcSoft, and we had a devil of a time getting anything to show up, and finally discovered that PDFs will show up. So there we have 2 PDF books that I've downloaded. Now the problem is you don't really find a whole lot of books in PDF format. They tend to be either EPUB format, probably the most common, and then of course Amazon Kindle format, which only the Kindle app, which is included thankfully, can read. But anyway, yeah, PDFs do show up here, nothing else. There's no shop option. There's nothing to really tell you what's supported, even in the owner's guide. And if you switch this, it just switches between list view and book view, and you can delete things. We'll take a look at a book. So it's taken our PDF and it's turned it into a sort of book view. And it's doing a reasonably good job of reflowing a PDF, which of course would look nothing like this on your computer screen, or even if you were loading it, say, on a big screen e-reader like the Kindle DX. And if you tap it, boy, they really have copied the look and feel of Apple's iBooks here. You've got your, and Kindle too, you've got your font changer, you've got your brightness, you've got your bookmark function. So here's your fonts. You can choose from Times New Roman, Arial, and Courier. And whether you want sepia or black and white. Brightness is obviously brightness, and then there's your bookmark function. That returns you back to your bookshelf. So there it is, a PDF book reader as far as we can tell, because we have EPUB files on here, we have MOBI format, which is the pre-Kindle format, several, and it doesn't really seem to see anything else. Probably a slightly confusing start for folks who are new to Android tablets and want to read some ebooks. Happily, Amazon's Kindle application is loaded on here too, as I mentioned. Of course, you can download Kobo books, you can download Aldico, free EPUB readers, you name it. It's all available on Android now. Barnes & Noble Nook. Let's take a look at Gallery and Gallery. Here's the standard Android gallery. We all know and love, if you're an Android person, you've got photos from a camera roll. We've got movies loaded over here. Preloaded photos also. And we'll take a look at movies. And we'll try a 720p high profile trailer. Now you see you have your choice of playing this with Video Player or Video Player. Wow, that's going to be baffling to new users. The top one, we can tell from the icon, is the actual Android Video Player. And this one is the Lenovo added by ArcSoft, as far as we can tell. We're going to use the standard Android player first, which will do a pretty good job of playing this high profile, otherwise challenging video in 720p, MPEG 4. Speaker volume is almost all the way max right now. Not very loud. That plays fine. Now if we go to play it again and we choose the Lenovo video player. It has problem with frame drops. Overall, it seems a bit less competent, actually, than the standard Android player. So now we've seen the standard Android gallery, and we'll see the other gallery. Again, this is by ArcSoft. And it's a real confusing user interface here. Take a look at that. I'm not really sure what that is. A jumble of stuff, and it seems to be organized by date, but we have something from November 2004, which is certainly mystifying. Android tablets didn't exist then, and we'll just pick a date. And I think what it's doing is actually pulling image resources that are stored on the flash drive, and they belong to games. So you can scroll through images here and share them, and that's about it. So kind of a confusing interface, actually, and it's pulling all sorts of resources that shouldn't from applications. It does see the SD card as well as internal memory, and that's handy, but then again, so does the standard gallery application. We also have a couple of other ArcSoft apps like Workshop 4.6. Now this is actually, again, you're going to see pretty much the same interface that we saw in the gallery application by ArcSoft. And we'll just pick something. And that's the image, and you can edit it by tapping here, and then you have these kind of interesting set of functions that you can do. And some of them are actually kind of cool, but not always very intuitive as to what they do. For example, what would result mean? I don't know. Let's see. Result means what you can do with it. Turn it into a caller ID photo, use it for a wallpaper, or just save the image. You can crop and rotate, you can apply effects and all that kind of thing, but the UI is just kind of weird. So you get an idea about some of the value-added ArcSoft software on here. That there's also a media server, a music server, and stuff like that. And I think it's something that's leading to some instability for this tablet. Now, people might pick on Android tablets and say they're not very stable. I use my Asus iPad transformer in my Zoom every day, and it's pretty rare that I manage to crash them, but this guy crashes and hangs with some frequency, particularly the e-reader application. The nice thing is you can actually remove a lot of these applications if you don't want them, if you're finding stability problems. Of course, it would be even better if you didn't have to start removing preloaded software. I feel like we're going back to the days of Windows Vista where there was so much stuff loaded on. But yes, if you do like the hardware, you can remove a lot of these applications. In fact, pretty much everything except for the core operating system files. In terms of bundle stuff, we have Angry Birds HD that's been bundled, arcade games, a whole lot of card games on here. We've got Galaxy on Fire 2 and Need for Speed game as well, and we'll check those out in a minute. And this is one thing that's really cool about this is the first tablet, Android tablet, to support DRM movie content. That means stuff with copy protection. So we've actually got the Netflix player here. It ships with the Netflix player. And also there's M-Spot movies. You can rent movies, and usually about $3.99 for top-selling movies using M-Spot. Same service that AT&T uses on the LG Thrill, in fact. But let's take a look at Netflix. Netflix performance for us has been quite good over 802.11n network. When you first start playing a movie, it has to buffer up a bit, so you'll see some frame drops initially, and the quality, it takes about 30 seconds or so, and then it's really good. So that plays nicely, and it looks pretty sharp. Definitely very watchable. And I was watching for about 30 minutes. I had no problems whatsoever. Paused it, resumed it, it worked fine. So Netflix, definitely a good value added here, and a great application to have on board at first Android tablet to support Netflix. Then we're going to check out gaming. We'll look at Need for Speed Shift. So it plays really well, very smooth, graphics are great. Of course this game has loud audio, so it's plenty enough to hear. Definitely go for gaming. In terms of other software customization, Lenovo's done this launcher over here, and you can actually change what's here. Right now this goes to MSpot video player, the standard email client. Zinio magazine reader is preloaded. Again, you can download that off the Android market anyway, but that's a really nice magazine reader that gives you the look as much as possible of a real magazine. And music playing access, and if you want to go to Android settings, you can just do that quickly. It's handy. And if you tap over here, you can change what each zone lists. We've got volume controls here, microphone control, locks, social networking client, quick link over here, AccuWeather is preloaded. Slacker radio widget, and Lenovo's App Shop, because my goodness, they have yet another app store. Now they do make a good point. They say that unlike the Android market, they vet these applications. So if you're a little bit concerned about getting viruses and stuff like that. So you can scroll through all the applications that are available here. Purchase prices are fairly similar to the Android market, and pushing some more Arcsoft software here. And people can rate. But obviously this is a new product, this application market. So, and this is powered by MobiHand, I believe. And then they've got this little scroller here too to see what's new. Last but not least, this is persistent down here. Along with the standard Android controls, we have this, and this is Lenovo's little pop-up launcher. You can put your favorite apps in here, and you can scroll through them. Now, I find this a little bit hard to control, actually, but for those of you who hate to tap on apps first and then pick the screen where your app is, and you don't want to put a shortcut, well, there this is for you. There's also a social networking application on here, which by default shows ads. It's a little bit weird. It's a custom social networking application that supports Facebook and Twitter, and the interface is not very exciting, actually. I would prefer to download something off the market personally, but they do give you something to get started with. So here we are in the social networking app that's called Social Touch. It supports Twitter, though it keeps crashing out on us when we try to add a Twitter account. Facebook, that does work, and your email, and you've got shortcuts to your email and to your calendar in here, and Facebook and Twitter as well. So this is what we see. This is a Facebook feed up here, and then you just get these windows you can move through recent posts. And you can click on links if there are links there. Also included is Documents to Go. That's the full edition, so you can both view and edit and create MS Office documents. And there's a file manager, because this has an SD card slot, a micro SD card slot. And we'll take a quick look at that. It's a very basic file manager. So what you get is a view of folders over here. There's an operation menu. You can create a new folder, and you can also create Word, Excel, and PowerPoint documents from within here. So we assume that this has something to do with the Documents to Go full edition file management features. And then the external SD card is represented this way. It's sort of like as a folder, and external USB. So we assume there's some kind of USB host functionality that may be added through the keyboard accessory dock or something like that. There is no USB port on this. So we look at the external card, we can see the folders that are on here. And for example, if we want to watch a video, we can go right through here to do that, and choose to use either video player or video player to do that. And that works just fine. So that's the basic file manager. This has the standard suite of Google applications on it, the Android market, the WebKit-based web browser with Flash support, Flash 10.3 currently. The email client supports POP3, IMAP, Exchange, pretty much everything you want. Obviously Google accounts as well. iBooks, Maps and Navigation, YouTube Player. And we'll take a look at the web browser to see how Adobe Flash Playback is. And we'll go to the full YouTube site to do that. And you can see this is the standard Android keyboard that it uses here. Alright, now we'll take a look at the X-Men HD trailer. And we will use the browser, so it uses Flash Player. And it'll play here in 360p, and if we pop it out, it'll switch to 480p. We'll try it both ways. That's looking fine. Plays perfectly well too. So good job for Flash Player. So that's the Lenovo IdeaPad K1, Lenovo's first Android honeycomb tablet. It's available now. It's $4.99 for the 32 gig. And it's a very nice piece of hardware. It doesn't really set itself apart, particularly from other Android tablets in terms of hardware, but if you trust the Lenovo brand, understandably, they do tend to make good stuff, and you'd like to have a Lenovo, that's great. One thing it is hobbled by all the bundled software, some of which is repetitive, confusing, less functional than we'd like to see. So if you're a novice with Android tablets, that this may be a difficult starter product for you. You might be better off with a different tablet. But if you know your way around Android and you can remove some applications that might be causing some problems with stability or just confusing or redundant, then certainly by all means go ahead and get the K1. I'm Lisa from Mobile Tech Review. Visit our website to read the full review.